Which Sig Sauer Romeo red dot sight is cheaper, which has a longer battery life, and do they both have MOTAC? Hi, I'm Tina from Target Tamers, and today I compare the most affordable Sig Sauer red dot sights to date, the Romeo MSR and the Romeo 5, to answer these questions and more. So Target Tamers purchased both these sights, and I've had a decent amount of time behind both of them. So to start with, I'll give you a quick side-by-side comparison of the specs to give you an idea of what we're working with on paper. The Romeo MSR is a 1x20 red dot sight with a 2 MOA red dot. It has 1 MOA adjustments, and the turrets are exposed and recessed into the body. Illumination, it has 10 daylight settings and 2 night vision settings that is controlled by the rotary dial, and it provides 20,000 plus hours powered by the CR1632 battery that is top loaded. It comes with a riser mount for an absolute co-witness. It is 3.1 by 1.5 by 2.6 inches in size, weighs 4.9 ounces, and is IPX7 rated for waterproofness, and it comes with see-through flip-up caps. The Romeo 5 is also a 1x20 red dot sight with a 2 MOA dot. It has half MOA adjustments with turrets that are capped. It has 8 daylight settings for illumination and 2 night vision settings. It has button control for the illumination and provides about 40,000 plus hours with the CR2032 battery that is side loaded. It also comes with a riser mount for an absolute co-witness. It is 2.4 by 1.5 by 1.5 inches in size and weighs 5.1 ounces. It is IPX7 rated for waterproofness and comes with rubber bikini caps. Cost. Both the Romeo 5 and the MSR are considered affordable budget red dot sights. Street prices for the MSR run around $80 to $100. I got mine in the Juliet 3 micro magnifier bundle, and that has been money well spent. Now the Romeo 5 generally comes in around $120 to $150. Sometimes you can find it a bit cheaper than that when it's on sale, but the cheaper one between the two is the Romeo MSR. Optical quality. I have no issue with either the MSR or the Romeo 5 when it comes to glass performance. Both have coatings, but I have noticed that the MSR has a blue tint. This can be assumed to be the dichroic coating to ensure we get a bright red dot back to our eyes from the LED. The Romeo 5 has better performance as far as natural color fidelity goes, and I don't have any issues with dot visibility, so I'm giving it to the Romeo 5. Build quality. So I've submerged the MSR in water, and I've been caught in a storm with the Romeo 5, then took advantage and purposely left it out exposed to the downpour just to see how it would perform. Both are IPX7 rated for waterproofness, and to this day they continue to perform without issue. As far as the finish goes, the Romeo MSR seems to handle superficial scratches a lot better than the Romeo 5. I'm thinking that this is credit to the slightly different finish that is on the MSR versus the standard anodized matte black finish on the Romeo 5. Turrets. So I'm a fan of recessed exposed turrets that are flush with the red dot sight body, just like what you see here on the Romeo MSR. And I find it frustrating to deal with turrets that are capped where they're sort of designed to be recessed into the body. It makes it tough to get that cap off. It's annoying. But the upside is that the caps often serve as the adjustment tool themselves. So it's convenient, and they also protect the turrets. And for those reasons, I'm giving this to the Romeo 5. Adjustments. The Romeo 5 has half MOA adjustments, which speaks to the potential for better accuracy. Since red dot sights are not precision optics, 1 MOA adjustments are reasonable and also considered the norm. At this point, it's more of a matter of personal preference if you want half MOA adjustments or 1 MOA adjustments from your red dot sight. But since the MSR does have 1 MOA adjustments and it's simple and easy to sight in, it has my approval. Illumination control. So I love illumination dials on red dot sights, so I might sound a bit biased at first. The well-made ones are easy to use and they do not unintentionally turn, and you can also rig an intermittent off position by toggling the dial in between illumination settings. Now the problem is that the Romeo MSR is really stiff. With gloves on it's not so bad, but without it can be pretty tough, and it still hasn't loosened up for me to date. Now the Romeo 5 has push buttons that are obviously more convenient to use, and I like that I don't have to leave my sight picture to use the illumination buttons. So the Romeo 5 gets it. Illumination and dot visibility. The Romeo 5 has 8 daylight settings and 2 night vision compatible settings. I wouldn't describe it as nuclear bright against white or highly reflective surfaces. That's a tough job for any red dot sight to do, but it was visible in most conditions. Now this is where that blue tint in the Romeo MSR really comes into play its role, I think. It was highly visible. There's 10 daylight settings and 2 night vision compatible settings. So there are 2 extra illumination settings versus the Romeo 5. Both performed great in low light, and obviously both are night vision compatible. But since the MSR has 2 extra illumination settings, it gets my vote. Before I go on, I'm taking a quick second to remind you that if you're finding this information helpful, please like and subscribe. If you've already done it, you're the best. Thank you. Battery type and battery life. So the Romeo MSR takes a CR1632 battery and it's top loaded. Most red dots are going to take a CR2032 battery that's a little bit bigger and you can squeeze out more battery life from them versus the CR1632. Now Sig Sauer says it provides 20,000 plus hours of runtime, which equates to something like 2.5 years. I've already had to change out the battery once during my ownership and it has not yet been 2 years. So either I'm running through those 20,000 hours with high usage and high illumination faster than what I suppose is normal, or the battery life isn't quite as long as what Sig says, maybe a little bit of both. Now the Romeo 5 has 40,000 plus hours of operation on the CR2032 battery. That's been hard to verify, but I haven't had to change out the battery yet, so it's got that going for it. And I'm positive that the MOTAC and the battery type, the CR2032, has everything to do with its long runtime. So battery life and battery type goes to the Romeo 5. Mounts. The Romeo 5 has an upper hand here because it comes with 2 mounts, a 1.41 inch absolute co-witness riser mount and a low profile mount, the latter of which I found convenient on my Ruger 1022 and on a muzzleloader. As far as I know, the MSR does not come with a low profile mount, just a skeletonized 1.41 inch absolute co-witness riser mount. Now you can find aftermarket mounts online, but between compatibility, the pain it is to do that, and the extra cost, the Romeo 5 has the advantage as far as mounting systems out of the box goes. Appearance. So this is completely a subjective thing. The full body mount on the Romeo 5 I think is ugly, and the white references is one-sided and a bit too much. I really like the skeletonized mount on the MSR and how the logos are kind of ghosted out. I think it makes it look tough and tactical. Yes, I just said that. Lens caps, rubber bikini caps or see-through flip-up caps. I think the better choice is obvious. The dot is visible through the see-through flip-up caps that are included with the Romeo MSR. They also protect the glass from my unintentional but inevitable fingerprint smudges. Though the rubber bikini caps on the Romeo 5 are obviously custom made, like many rubber caps, they gather dirt, dust, and I eventually do lose them sometime down the road. Special features. This is the defining difference between the Romeo 5 and the MSR red dots. The Romeo 5 has MOTAC, motion activated illumination. Many will recognize this feature as shake awake, but that's a holosun term. Same thing though. This just means that there's a built-in sensor that senses movement and automatically activates the dot, i.e. the LED, into providing illumination. After 2 minutes of inactivity, as sensed by the sensor, it will automatically disengage the illumination. This is a battery conservation feature and it works. It means for many that they won't need to manually turn it on or confirm that there's a red dot when engaging a threat as soon as you shoulder your rifle. Obviously, there are downsides such as failure related to the sensor or the battery. Another point to note is that even when the red dot sight is not in use, any movement can trigger the MOTAC feature. So battery consumption is occurring even when it's not needed. Obviously, these are things that you should think about when determining if it's right for you. Now the MSR is a continuous on red dot sight. It does not have MOTAC. It's intended for manual off, manual on for applications like range use, or you can continuously leave it on for applications like maybe home defense. Now similar continuous on red dot sights are the Vortex Crossfire 2 and the Stinger Axiom 2. They fall into the same category as continuous on red dots. So to declare a winner for this section, it would be the Romeo 5 because it's highly desired for its MOTAC feature and its long-lasting battery life. Which is best for you? The MSR is one of my favorite red dot sights to date. I know its weaknesses. It has poor battery life and a stiff illumination control dial, but I like its scratch resistant finish. It looks cool. It has see-through flip up caps, and I like its continuous on design. Now the Romeo 5 has MOTAC, double the battery life, push button control, cap turrets, and it comes with a low profile mount. Now I want to call it a wash between the two as far as cost goes, but the MSR is cheaper. So the real determination will come down to the operating differences between the two. To see the written version of this video, I've included the link in the description below. Thank you for joining me today, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and get outside.